episode 28. Thank you all for listening to episode 27, Alabama. Did someone say cupcakes? I am Gary here with my co-host.
There's not co-hosts?
Nope.
Oh, someone didn't show up on another Saturday is what you're saying.
Of course. I have to meet his ass in West Virginia, so it's okay.
Yeah, he still probably got drunk, and it's going to be my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I totally agree. Who are you?
You're here with Bear.
Yes, I am.
You're on the radio with Bear, J-A-R-A-F, 101.5 Atlanta. Good morning.
Well, that was interesting.
Maybe I'm still drunk.
Yeah, you might be. Whew. Oh, gosh. So
that one will make Brandon proud. He'd enjoy that.
Yes. Thank you. Brandon is off again for the foreseeable future, and today he cannot join us for a phone call. He has something else that must be more important. Thanks to Wes Anderson for Moments in Time. Check him out on Facebook, Wes Anderson Music. Give him a follow on Twitter at Songs by Wes. Thank you to Crandall's Quality Lawn Care. Call them 704-5471. They serve the Toledo and surrounding area, and not
Argentina.
We already said that.
God, why do I keep picking the same countries?
There's like 100. There's several.
I know, and I keep thinking the same ones. I don't know why. Fine, Brazil.
All right, fine.
We probably picked them too.
Brazil.
You know what? I'm changing it. I'm changing the whole thing. I'm picking Panama and the canal.
Panama.
Do you think does Shawn like Van Halen?
Probably. He probably didn't know who they are. Do you remember who sang for them when they sang Panama? It wasn't Hagar.
I don't know. Eddie.
Exactly.
I mean, there was only two of them, so.
Right. And he's back.
I said Van Halen, not Van Hagar. Nerd.
But they were still good. You know, one of the best songs, I don't want to get into Van Halen too much, but do you ever listen to Jericho's podcast?
I do not.
Talk is Jericho?
No.
I just listened to the one. I've listened to the one before. They were with Steel Panther, and they covered Van Halen's 1984 versus 5150. So the last album versus the first album with Hagar. And I tell you what, that was pretty awesome. And they talk about probably my favorite song with Hagar. They have a lot of good ones, but Dreams is a really good song.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting. And this last one I just listened to the other day, they covered all. You would like this one because you like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. So you know the rock, the Jericho Cruise,
yeah,
or the rock and roll, or the Rock and Wrestling Rager.
Yeah.
So how they came up with that, how it took to get there, how they got the guys there. Pretty interesting story. You should check that out definitely on Talk is Jericho.
Speaking of that, before we get into it, did you see I think it was last. When did the Steelers and Panthers play? 2 Thursday nights ago, right?
Yeah.
2 Thursday nights ago. Steel Panther was there.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
They had the
Steelers and the Panthers, so they brought in Steel Panther, and I was like, I don't even think frickin' Terry Bradshaw knows who that is.
I tagged you in that, and you tagged Andy.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, because, well, it was funny because I wasn't quite home yet from work, and Cody texted me. He goes, Steel Panther's on. I was like, what? So I was looking through it, and I ended up going and seeing, I was like, that is so weird. And then you tagged me in it, and I tagged Andy because the only people who I even know Steel Panther.
They're great.
They're hilarious. Yeah. I love it. I think they're pretty solid.
Have you seen any of their shows? Have you been
Yes.
there?
No, yeah. They were at Rock on the Range when they were there.
So they're hilarious.
Oh,
they
yeah.
put on a great show. And their music's actually really good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Mock 80s hair band, and they're fantastic. And they were great on Talk is Jericho as well.
Yeah, Tiger Woods is probably my favorite song.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
If you haven't heard it out there in listener land, turn that one on Spotify this morning.
Tiger
Woods
one. You
by
can do
Steel
that one.
Panther.
You can do Glory Hole. You can do 17 Girls in a Row.
See, I wasn't going to do that because I wanted to just do Tiger Woods. They wouldn't have got it.
Watch the video for Glory Hole. Fantastic.
I do not want to watch any Glory Hole
hilarious.
videos. I will pass. This went off the rails
fast. 17 Girls in a Row is good, but my favorite, because I think of ex-wife, Gold Digging Whore.
Okay, good. Good thing it wasn't Glory Hole.
Yeah, no. Jeez. No, not at all.
Dangerous.
Thanks, of course, to Verizon and PNC. Visit Cassandra at PNC 419-877-0634.
I might have to visit her. I just missed a payment on my stupid Furniture Row credit card.
You'll be fine.
Wasn't my fault, by the way. The website went down. I mean, granted, it was like same day, and I was about an hour away from my deadline. Just forgot to do it.
You'll be fine.
Oh, I know I will.
That won't even count as a late payment.
I'm making small talk.
I've had 100% on-time payments for like 15 years.
Yeah, but mine went up, so now it's going to go down.
Right. No, it shouldn't because they won't count it against you.
They shouldn't. It's Furniture Row. It shouldn't even count.
And for a day, no. Thanks, like we said, Verizon. Visit their website and get in touch with the sales rep in your area. Again, PNC 419-877-0634 with Cassandra. And as always, Brandon, All Wear Clothing, allwearclothing.com. Thank you for being the original and primary sponsor of Over the Line Sports Podcast. We're going to try to get Brandon on the show here in the next couple months. He would be fun to have on. And just thank him for what he does for us. And we're still waiting to get confirmation on our other sponsors. So once we get that, we will share that with everyone. So, hey, let's get right into Justin on the Twitter. What are the best, because we're going to cover something later, Bear, what are the best heel turns that you have seen?
Well, obviously, the one we're going to get into later, Hogan, Bash at the Beach 96, that's the most famous one. That's the one everybody knows. And this was most famous heel turns, right? Or what do you say, best?
Best heel turns.
I mean, I think I talked about last week, Christian at WrestleMania 20 was a great heel turn. Him and Jericho were friends. And I think that was an absolute solid heel turn, one of my favorites.
How about Jericho and HBK at Seattle WrestleMania?
Yep, I like that one. Just when you thought it was good and they were hugging, Jericho gives them the old low blow, and that's it. Stone Cold as a heel turn, I didn't like it. I don't think that was great.
How about Evolution turning on Orton when he won the title?
That was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Of course, like you
the
said,
old
Hogan.
thumbs down. Yep.
The Hogan.
Hogan.
Seth Rollins originally turning on the Shield, and more recent, Dean Ambrose turning on Seth Rollins.
Yes. But like you said, other than that, I mean, there's probably some that I could come back to and think of and look back, ones that are just kind of short-lived. But with that, I mean, hell, the Godfather going to the Goodfather, geez, that was a good heel turn because he had such a good character, and people, everyone loved the Godfather, and when he turned to the Goodfather, he was just so hated. So that also makes a really good heel turn when he went to Right to Censor, right? Is that with the group? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Right to Censor. So, yeah, there's so many good heel turns out there, and I'm happy that you actually brought that up. That's something I'm going to need to look into and go through. Also, one that just popped into my head, Chyna with DX when she went to the corporation, and then Triple H the next week. People forget about that. He went, he was like, it was all DX and everything, and then he turned on DX, I think the next week or 2 weeks later as well.
And you can
People
think
didn't see
him
that coming.
turning on Michaels.
Yep.
When he's done that.
2002, yeah, SummerSlam. It was before SummerSlam, was when Michaels came back, but yeah, that was a good one. You got to think a lot of those top guys have good heel turns, to be honest with you. So, yeah, there's plenty of them. That's the whole point of wrestling. So hopefully there's even more and more here as we go. Becky on Charlotte here recently, that was really good too. That was great. I think it was a great storyline.
That was a great one. And remember when I said, right when that happened, I said she's going to start getting stuff like Stone Cold. Granted, she's not Stone Cold, but look what she's got going on.
Yeah.
She is.
She can't get booed.
Did you watch, because this is going to piggyback into Raw, did you see what happened on Raw?
Did not.
So on Raw, the women, and we're just going to cover small things that happened on Raw and SmackDown, but on Raw, the women the SmackDown women invaded Raw, right? And Becky goes in, legit, gets hit by Nia in the nose, broke her nose, by the way. WWE said broke the face, so you didn't see this yet. She's not Survivor Series against Ronda.
Really?
Because they're not going to let her fight.
Oh.
Because she legit broke her face. So Nia Jax is under some heat because she has done this rough in the past. But the best thing about this is Becky went with it, didn't come out of character, sold it. She had the blood all over her face. Check out the GIFs on this. She's just bloody face, Irish woman, just holding her hands up in the air like, bring it. I'm like, this just sold it more. And then, of course, WWE's not going to let her fight. I'm like, damn it. And she sold it.
Why wouldn't they let her fight with like a face mask or something?
I don't know, and it sucks, but hopefully this builds to, I know.
Maybe they're playing into it.
Well, now Charlotte's fighting Ronda.
Okay.
Becky picked Charlotte as her pick, which that's the next best thing they could do. But I think this still, if Becky's going to keep rolling, and I think this kind of rolls her to potentially WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, setting up her and Ronda, which would be great.
Which I wanted, Flair and Rousey to be WrestleMania, so I think it's a little bit too early. But if that's how they want to go with Becky, then so be it. I just want my prediction to be right. That's all.
And Becky, yeah, because we all said that. And I think Becky's going to have a lot more fan base. Charlotte has a huge one, but now with what Becky's got going on, keep her a heel. And your best face right now is Ronda because of what's going on. That is great if they can keep that going and save it for WrestleMania. Now you might as well just save it. SmackDown, did you see what happened?
Nope.
Did you get my text? Probably not. So we had a championship change last night. Daniel Bryan took the championship off of AJ Styles.
Really?
Heel turn.
Bryan?
Daniel Bryan, heel turn. And it was kind of a quiet heel turn. So what he did, ref turned his back and he low blowed AJ.
Styles.
And then took the title, and he kind of had this look on his face like basically F you all. And
he didn't cut a promo after or anything?
Nope. So AJ is not on the card. And Daniel Bryan fills in for, which sucks, and Daniel Bryan fills in for against Lesnar. So should be interesting.
So Survivor Series is going to suck.
Right. So we've got our new picks here. You know what? Let's just get right into SummerSlam picks.
Survivor Series picks.
Damn.
Because I wrote SummerSlam. And you read it.
And I read it. So Survivor Series, not SummerSlam, idiot.
You wrote it as stupid idiots.
All right, so Team Raw, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, The Revival, The B Team, Lucha House Party, which, by the way, have you seen their logo? Lucha House Party, it's Kalisto and some others.
I have not.
It's the In Your House logo, but it says
Is
Lucha
it?
House Party.
Oh,
it's
awesome.
And then
like
the Ascension versus Team SmackDown, Usos, New Day, Sanity, Colognes, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson.
Okay, so let's get into picks then, right? Is that what we're going to do?
Yep.
Okay, I have Brandon texted me his picks this morning, probably while he was waiting in the Burger King drive-thru would be my guess to get those French toast sticks. So what are we doing first here? Do you just want to go right down your list that you have? So Team Raw versus Team SmackDown?
On this one, yep.
Okay.
Tags.
So Brandon has Team SmackDown, the Usos, New Day, Sanity, Colognes, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. I am going to go Team Raw here. Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Revival, B Team, and give me Lucha House Party with the Ascension here.
And I have, I'm going to go Team SmackDown.
Okay. Next, Rousey versus Flair. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit too early. I think that Becky and Rousey would have been pretty awesome, to be honest with you. And don't get me wrong, Rousey and Flair is going to be good. Nothing that Becky and Flair have done, though, not even close. I still think Ronda's a little bit too green. She's got some decent moves. It's going to be a battle of submissions, the figure eight versus the armbar. Unfortunately, I think Ronda's going to win. So I'm taking Ronda. Brandon also has Ronda.
I also have Ronda.
Okay, next, Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura. I think this will be fun. This should be.
That's the Intercontinental Champion against the U.S. Champion.
And they're not giving away belts, right?
No,
It's just
right.
fight. Okay.
Yep.
I think this will be a great match. Brandon has Seth. I'm also going to take Seth. I think that this may be match of the night, to be honest with you. Have they fought before?
No.
Okay, so this should be good then. Two good styles. I think it'll be pretty fun. So yeah, give me Rollins there.
I also have Rollins. Next, Brock Lesnar, and like we just mentioned, Daniel Bryan is now the champion, so he is fighting Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think this is going to be boring. Give me Brock. Brandon also has Brock.
Same here, Brock Lesnar.
Next, Team Raw. Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley versus Team SmackDown, The Miz, Shane McMahon, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and Rey Mysterio. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
This should be pretty good. I'm going to take Team Raw again here, and Brandon agrees with me. He's also going to take Team Raw. I see a lot of heels there, so that should be quite interesting, but give me Raw there.
And to keep it more even, because right now I've gone SmackDown, Raw, give me SmackDown again.
Okay. Next for the women, Team Raw, Mickie James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Natalya, and Ruby Rocks. Is that right?
Riot.
Ruby Riot. I'm just guessing as we go.
Close. It started with an R.
I knew it started with an R. I just didn't know. I like Ruby Rocks. Vince McMahon, if you're listening to this, which you probably are, you should change that to Ruby Rocks. No longer Ruby Riot. Change the Riot Squad to the Rock Squad. You're welcome. They are fighting Team SmackDown. Carmella, Naomi, Sonya Deville. Is that Sonya Deville?
Yep.
And what's her name?
Asuka.
Asuka. You always say Asuka. Asuka. Is that 5-on-4? Are we missing somebody?
Yeah, we might be.
Oh, okay.
I probably missed someone in there. That's okay. Oh, because Charlotte was in there. I didn't catch who replaced her.
Okay, gotcha. Brandon took Team SmackDown. I really should take SmackDown since I've taken all Raw so far, so I'll just take Team SmackDown because of that. That's it.
And I'm going to take Team SmackDown as well because that would put me at even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it wouldn't. Would it? How many matches have we picked so far?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6.
So this is 6. So yeah, this puts me at a tie. So I think your main event is going to be either Ronda and Charlotte or Brock and Daniel Bryan for Raw to win. So at the end, I'm going to take we got AOP versus The Bar.
Who's AOP?
The I want to say Acolyte Protection Agency. That's not it. They're humongous. They're big guy. I can't remember what AOP stands for. That's terrible for a wrestling show. We should know this.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't watch enough, so
because I want to say Acolytes of Protection.
I like it.
But
Let's
it's
just
not.
call him that. Is that what's his face? Who's the dude with the big beard?
Braun?
No. The other one who was with Bray, Luke Harper. Is that him? Is he in that one? AOP? Luke Harper and the other dude?
No. Yes. No. I don't know.
Okay, I'm taking The Bar regardless. Brandon's also taking The Bar.
And I'm taking The Bar as well, even though or was The Bar on SmackDown? I think The Bar's on SmackDown. Yes. No, give me AOP because I think Raw is going to win this whole thing. So that would be my tiebreaker, Raw AOP, or Raw winning, AOP winning.
Okay.
And then SmackDown for you guys would be The Bar.
Okay. And then Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight title. Brandon has Buddy Murphy. I am going to go with Mustafa Ali here.
You got to be careful aligning yourself with Brandon. I know this one you didn't.
Oh, yeah, no. I know. Trust me.
I'm going to take Mr. Alexa Bliss, Buddy Murphy.
Okay. Is that her boo?
Her fiance, yes.
Ah.
So Buddy for Brandon and myself?
Yep, and I'm taking Mustafa Ali. So, with the changes around and no Becky and no AJ, I don't think Survivor Series is going to be that great. It's still Survivor Series, which is one of my favorite pay-per-views, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be the best one of all here. Hopefully I'm wrong. And that is tomorrow night already? Next.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
It is tomorrow night.
It's this week, yep.
Oh, shit.
So tomorrow night, so we got to be ready for that after them. Hopefully Cowboys win, hopefully after Kyle Busch gets the title. And let's hope, man.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll watch when I get back from Detroit tomorrow.
What about that Bears-Vikings game?
I have 2 TVs, so it works out for me.
Which one are you going to leave the sound on?
Well, the problem is that the big TV has the Xbox, which has WWE Network, so the big TV is going to be on. Small TV will be on the football game, which, like you said, I don't really care. It's going to be a good game to watch Bears-Vikings, but I'm going to be watching Bears-Vikings regardless. So it'll just be on mute-ish. There'll be a little bit of sound, but anything to drown out Chris Collinsworth works for me.
Oh, God, he is so awful. It's just so tough to listen to. I can't even do it anymore.
Now here's a guy.
Which one?
That's what he says. That's his tagline. Yeah. Now here's a guy.
So to update the picks on wrestling, so you are sitting at 25-12-1.
Okay.
I'm 24-13-1, and Brandon is 12-5. Or excuse me, he's 17-20.
Yeah.
And Jake, who did not make picks he's 17-20-1. Excuse me, Brandon is. And Jake is 12-5. So maybe when I see Jake on later this afternoon, that I can get him to get some picks to us because I'm gonna have a lot of time with him, so we'll have some downtime. Hopefully, I'll get some picks from him. I'll just tell him names of people, and he'll just throw out names to me.
Yeah,
so
pretty much
that'll be great. We'll see how he does. We'll get those up on the board. I have them here. What our picks were from Crown Jewel, what our updated standings are. You and I are close, usually as always with most of the stuff we do. Like everything we pick, we're close. NASCAR, close. Baseball, close. College football, now we're close, even though Brandon's winning. And pros, of course, we are close.
Yep.
So wrestling we might as well be close.
I like it.
So we'll see. We have a lot of differing opinions here, so either we're going to get separated quite a bit, or we're going to get close. We don't know. What do you think?
I think we'll be close still, regardless at the end of the day. It's going to be because we we have to reset for the beginning of the year, so Royal Rumble, stuff like that is going to be a reset.
So obviously, how are we going to do that, by the way? Are we going to a winner is like an extra bonus, or it's not going to count as a loss necessarily because there's 30 people in it, and we got the women's Royal Rumble?
Well, I say we probably, I think like last year we did top 4 or last 4, so we'll do that, and you'll get a point for last 4. So if you have nobody in the last 4, you get 0 points. If you have 3 of 4, you get 3 points, and then if you pick the winner, let's say you just get like 5 points or something. We could do something like that.
Right. I think that's a good idea, and because last year I had all 4 except you got the winner with Asuka, or no, with the men. Who won last? Oh, Shinsuke did.
Yeah, I picked both of them right.
Yeah, you picked both right, and I think I picked Shinsuke, and I had the Final Four right, but I didn't pick Asuka. It came down to Asuka and who did she beat? Because it was who I had. Or no, I had Sasha, and she got thrown out earlier.
Yeah, was it Nia?
I think she got Nia. Right. I think you were absolutely correct.
Yeah, because Nia was a heel and Asuka was face at the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Now, did you see, by chance, what is going on with the Mixed Max Challenge, what they're going to do?
No, I have not.
So they announced it on Raw that the winning team of this season of it will both enter the Royal Rumble, their Royal Rumble match at 30, because it's mixed match challenge. So, for example, you've got no longer Alexa Bliss, and we're going to talk about her in a minute. It's Ember Moon and Braun Strowman. So if they win, they enter at 30.
Okay.
If Asuka and Miz win, for example, they are going to be at 30. So it should be interesting. I would love to see either one of those. Braun would just destroy the Rumble if he goes in at 30.
I think he will, because normally the big guys go in later, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Right. So, it is going to come down to, Bobby Roode did replace Kevin Owens earlier in this when Kevin Owens got hurt. But it's going to come down to Braun and Ember, and now it's it was Flair and Styles, but now I think it's Flair and Hardy, I believe, is who is in that. I'm just trying to think. I think it's Flair and Hardy now. It was Flair and Styles, but now Hardy is in there. And I wonder if Styles is hurt. We got to look into this, because if Styles got dropped out of that,
and he lost the belt.
Or he's going to get a rematch at Rumble and
maybe
he's going to win it back.
Maybe he's just getting time off, too,
He might get time. He deserves it. I mean, he carried that title for a year, and he might win it back at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You know what I hate? And we'll get into this, and then remind me to get into Alexa. We got to cover her. But I hate that that AJ, with the WWE Championship, it is not. When is the last time it was the main event of anything? Like a pay-per-view? It has been a long time.
Since Cena?
Yeah, it's terrible. You've got that guy. I like Cena and how he carried the belt, but AJ is.
He puts on the best matches.
His name is correct. Phenomenal. He is, I'm going to say it, the Shawn Michaels of today when it comes to putting on matches. He carries anybody. And granted, Cena's good. I know Cena. People hate Cena. 5 Moves of Doom, whatever. He did a great match with AJ. They did great. Roman and him had a great match. Even Brock and him had a great match.
Yep.
AJ, and that tells you the guy you're fighting who carries these matches has a great match every time.
No, I agree, and I think that AJ, like I said, he's probably he's the best wrestler right now, I'd have to say. And yeah, it's like I said, it's certainly definitely time needed off if that's what he is doing or if he's injured, whatever he does. But I mean, right now AJ is definitely top, and he doesn't get these main event things because I think everyone just knows what he's going to do and put out a good match every single time. But unfortunately, he's not the guy that he's not the guy putting butts in seats, as you want to say.
Who's
it.
that?
AJ.
AJ does. He sells the most merch.
Yeah, but people want to see Brock. That's why he's there. They want to see.
Well, that's Raw.
It's Rousey, and I'm saying just in general. I mean, when they do these pay-per-views that are mixed, they split, and it's never SmackDown as the main event. Is what I'm saying.
No, you're right.
It's Brock or it's Rousey.
It's Roman, because they shove Roman down our throats.
Exactly.
But he's not going to headline the pay-per-view this year, because I think it is going to come down to the women, especially now that Roman's gone. I would love to see. Brock's got the title. You think he carries it to Mania?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. Do you think he goes to UFC before that?
I don't know.
Because his contract allows him to. But like we said, we think it's going to be Bones Jones is going to be fighting Cormier, right? Before Lesnar.
He should. If he can beat Gustafsson. He's got to beat Gustafsson first, and then he'll get it.
Who's that?
Jones.
Bones? Yeah. It'll be interesting. What do you think now? Because I know we talked about Miz potentially fighting AJ or Daniel. Now that Daniel has turned, sort of, so to speak, it kind of seemed like he turned. It wasn't like a clear for sure, but it looks that way. What do you think happens with Miz and Bryan if they're both heels? You think AJ still is the man? He's going to be the face?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that AJ is going to stay the face. It's very possible. I doubt that Miz will turn face. I don't think that'll be his thing. But yeah, I mean, Styles will have to be there. But if he is injured or something like that, then someone's going to have to change. So I don't know who else there is to contend on SmackDown besides Miz, Bryan, and Styles. Samoa Joe, but he's a heel, so I don't know how to put that. It'll be interesting to see how they place all that, and depending what is going on with AJ, and how they're going to handle this whole situation.
Well, and they have so many damn heels on SmackDown now. Like you've got Samoa Joe, you've got Miz.
When's Cena coming back?
Bryan. He's probably not for a while because he's doing the movies, and he's either way. And you've got not just Samoa. I mean, we mentioned Samoa Joe, but you've got Randy Orton too. People forget about Orton.
Yeah, he's true.
He's a heel. I mean, your faces are Mysterio, Hardy. It's becoming
the
old
same
school
guys, right? Exactly, and that's where they need to find. Okay, who else is here? Do we need to do another draft and trade some people? I don't know, because when there's injuries and whatnot, or people aren't around, you have to make little trades here and there, or move guys, and do whatever you need to do in storyline. But like I said, that's all something that we'll see here as we move on.
And the big thing on why Daniel Bryan is potentially heel, and what happened after the match, after he won, did the kind of the low blow and then just his face, he just beat the shit out of AJ after stomping his face, like literally stomping his face. So I think that and everybody's pretty much saying he turned heel. I say he turned heel. It seemed pretty obvious to me, especially afterwards when he's stomping his face in. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. I think that they for AJ to not lose momentum, it's because he didn't lose clean. That's the biggest thing there. He carried the title for a year.
Yep.
And he didn't lose clean, so they're keeping that, obviously, a big thing. And I think this could be potentially why they didn't. I think they want to still carry him to be the top guy, and maybe that's why they don't want him fighting Brock, because Brock's probably going to beat Daniel Bryan, and he can take the squash match.
Going to.
Because AJ in there's already lost to Brock. And they probably didn't want to have AJ beat Brock because Brock's got to be the guy that can't be beat. And you don't want AJ to get beat. So I can see maybe that's why they dropped the title on him, and they'll get it back on him.
Well, and maybe or at WrestleMania, and maybe they want him to go to Raw. I mean, that's very possible,
Because he could carry Raw, especially with Roman gone.
With Roman gone is one of the main reasons. And you probably
want to get him on the main show.
Exactly.
But what kind of sucks too is you got people over there. You've got Seth Rollins, I could see him coming up and beating Lesnar, but now he's got the whole thing with Ambrose.
Yep.
So that could carry on to Mania potentially, or it could carry on to Rumble and be Ambrose versus Rollins for Intercontinental title.
Yep.
You've got Finn Balor, who I think he was so good coming up, and they
just
kind of jobbed him.
I don't like
which
it.
Sucks. But we don't know what they're going to do with Elias either, because Elias can carry that. We've seen he got great heat, and now he's getting great pop. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
He's not on Survivor Series, is he?
I think he's on. Is he on Raw? He's on Raw for somebody, isn't he? Maybe he's not.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, because Lashley's on there. Yeah, I don't see him on there.
Huh? Interesting.
Yeah. So
I mean, he'll be on the show.
Yeah, misuse of somebody again. Well, we'll see what happens. So hey, let's get into Bash at the Beach '96 from Daytona. It was the day after. I don't know how many times you heard it mentioning it. The Firecracker 400 was yesterday.
Yeah, I know. They said that 100 times, I think.
I put the top 5 in here. Who do you think won that? I know you didn't look it up.
96. Darrell Waltrip.
No.
Bobby Allison.
No.
Jeff Gordon.
No, he was third.
Okay, so I got one of the top 3. No one else in there I named?
Nope.
I don't want to say Dale Earnhardt because I know it's not right.
Fourth.
Davey Allison.
Nope.
Sterling Marlin?
He won. That's good. I'm covering my eye because of Ernie Irvan, and because he's blind. And then
almost he should be dead.
Second, no shit, from MIS twice.
Yeah.
Second place. Think Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Terry Labonte.
Yes, sir.
And then fifth,
Ernie Irvan.
Oh, it was Ernie.
Yeah,
okay.
That's why I covered my eye. I said he was fifth.
Okay.
Trying to give you hints.
So old Sterling Marlin on that, huh? Go ahead.
Yeah. So before we get into the matches, what do you think of the commentary with The Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby Heenan, and Tony Schiavone?
And
Mike Tenay.
Mike Tenay.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I liked it. One, I always liked Tenay. He was so underrated. Dude knew he knows everything. Him and JR in a booth would have been interesting together.
Do you like Schiavone? I know you. Do you listen to that podcast with Conrad?
I used to. That was the first one I started. I started that one before.
For me, I don't know if you're the same. It's something to wrestle with 83 weeks, Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it is because I found it because of Schiavone before Something to Wrestle With.
So good.
And I like Schiavone, but the way they went with the show, the problem is that they, he didn't know. He knows and knew that what was going on, but like they do a lot of just like watch-alongs, which is fun because he was an announcer. That was his gig, and he's really good at coming up with shit on the fly. So I like that aspect. So there's certain things I do, but I wasn't the biggest WCW fan. So when I watch that, sometimes it's kind of like, it's all right. So I stopped watching that a little bit, but. I think that it was a good booth. I like Dusty in there. Heenan obviously is amazing, and I do like Schiavone. I think Schiavone's pretty solid. And then Tenay with all the.
I think my favorite call in the whole Bobby Heenan's great when he's like, "Hey, me and Gene, go back and talk to those cops and see if you can find out what's going on." He's like, "Hey, wait a minute!
I'm not falling
Heenan.
into your
I'm
stuff,
not falling
Heenan."
into your stuff,
I
Heenan.
love that.
And then just when he said, "Whose side is he on?"
Yeah, right when he came out.
That was great. So hey, let's get right into this. So Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, probably match of the night.
Oh, easily match of the night. It was match of the night. That might be match of WCW
right.
ever.
Any of their cruiserweight stuff when they let them go at it, unreal. And Rey Mysterio won this with a Frankensteiner from the top. Did you listen to that? His idol was Scott Steiner.
He trained with Scott Steiner.
Yeah,
from
amazing.
What they said. I said that it was an amazing match, a lot of high spots. Mysterio reversed Psychosis' splash mountain in midair into the Frankensteiner for the win. That was an amazing move in itself. There was a lot of other ones of them. Mysterio off the top rope did a Frankensteiner or a Hurricane Rana while Psychosis was on the apron onto the floor. That's insane. And then there was another one he went off and hit his leg on the railing. I was like, geez.
You remember when I told you one of my top songs was Rey Mysterio's original? That's the song, if you remember.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
I love that. It was great for him. There were people who were like, it doesn't make sense for him. I'm like, I love that for him.
Yeah, no, that was great. No, that was certainly one of my, when I rewatched it was funny because I think I joked with you guys the other day. I said I tried to watch it and fell asleep. Granted, it was late at night, so I was going to fall asleep, but I still made it through that match. And, man, I rewatched it again, actually awake and taking notes, and was like, damn, this was a really good match. That was very good. Maybe one of the best I've ever seen. That might be one of the top 10 matches of all time.
And I think, here's the thing. They made, and what I think, besides the guaranteed contracts and having the guys have control, the thing that brought WCW down, their best matches were in the beginning. They had the best fighters.
Oh, yeah.
You had Eddie. You had Chris. You had Rey Mysterio. You had Psychosis.
And you could finish the show with the big guys. You could certainly do that. And they had it, and they ruined it.
They started it off with this, and you're like, great. Well, yes, people came to see Hogan and came to see the NWO, but when you look at these guys, when did people, one of your favorite pay-per-views, which we're going to cover, I think, we're going to cover it next week because I know.
Yeah, we're supposed to get that from Brandon.
We're supposed to get that from Brandon. Let's do WrestleMania 20 next week.
Okay.
Because you got two WCW guys.
Yeah.
And ECW guys that won titles. Yeah, I think
one,
that's something
one wins it and one holds it, and we'll definitely cover that. But yeah, no, I agree with you. They had all these guys. They started the cruiserweight division. That's a fact. WWF did not do that at the time. It was WCW, and they had all this. They just didn't know how to put it in, and they had it in, and it was great. And they should have had another match in here midway through, and they didn't. I think they wanted it to be the Disco Inferno Dean Malenko match, and it wasn't. That match was okay at best. It wasn't that great, and we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, when you have a match like this, as they call it, a quote-unquote curtain jerker, this is like main event style match right there.
Right. But
little
insane. Guys then, they said, didn't sell.
Exactly. Of course, big guys always are going to sell no matter what.
Yeah.
Always.
That's why Brock always sells. Braun sells.
Yeah.
But now, Michaels sold for WWF, and he always did as a small guy. Bret Hart, same thing. It was usually Bret.
But who was always there with him, though? Diesel. There's always someone in the background, or they're at least
Triple
fighting
H.
a big guy.
Yep.
That's just unfortunately how it is.
Well, WrestleMania, what was it, 12? WrestleMania 12, which we'll cover at some point. Michaels and Bret. I mean, they had no big. No, he didn't have Sid or Diesel. He came down. He had his trainer.
Yeah, Jose Lothario.
Yes, Jose
But the year before he had
Diesel. Or no, he fought Diesel.
He fought Diesel.
He had
11,
Psychos. Right? Did he have Sid? Sid was around for a lot, but he had we talk about this Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah.
And, we'll cover that. We've got a lot of pay-per-views we're going to cover over the
Let's make
show.
WrestleMania 11 like one of the last ones ever, because it sucks.
That was
the Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Bad.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, bad.
Was it the main? Yeah, it was the main.
Yeah, it was the main.
Oh, God,
bad.
that's so terrible.
Really bad.
All right, let's go to the next one. So, Big Bubba versus John Tenta in a Carson City Silver Dollar match, or I like to say, Big Boss Man versus Earthquake. What'd you think?
These are my notes, and I had them.
I hope you have the same note I have.
I had them because I thought Brandon was going to be here. My note is Brandon beat Big Bubba in a silver dollar pole match.
Yeah.
That's it. That was my note.
That was your note?
That was my note. It was terrible.
Did you notice, why did Tenta have half a mullet?
Did they
say
Big Bubba shaved his head. Yeah, it was in storyline. So he shaved his head a couple weeks before on Nitro or whatnot.
Why did he shave the rest?
I
Because they got to keep storyline.
But Brandon needed to shave his whole head there against Big Bubba. This match sucked. Yeah. It was bad. The only thing that made it half decent was Jimmy Hart
on the pole was hilarious, shaking it and sliding down.
And he came down thinking, and I mean, he's a great actor off of that, and turns around and Tenna's right there, and Tenna socked him one. No pun intended.
Yeah, I didn't like the match either. When he was whipping him with the belt, though, that was good. I like when Big Bubba was whipping Tenna with the belt. But after that, we cut to a promo with Macho Man, Luger, and Sting. Macho Man was the best, man. Luger was mediocre at best.
I said Luger sucked. Macho good as always. Sting promo so underrated.
Yeah,
he had a great promo, and I think almost better than Macho.
Sting is better than Luger by far.
Well, Luger sucks.
And then Macho Man, he's just awesome. Just anything it reminds me of back in WWF days when you do the cream of the crop. When you do all that shit.
I just watch. I mean, Sting's on there was just. I like Sting's honestly the most out of that, to be dead honest. But yeah, Macho's, like you said, his are always good though. He was a great promo, so it wasn't one of his best, but it was really good.
I agree. And next we had Duggan and DDP in a taped fist match. DDP won this, but Hacksaw knocks him out later.
Yeah.
And DDP retained Lord of the Ring moniker with the Diamond Cutter.
What did I say on that one? DDP beat Hacksaw in taped fist match for some ring. That's what I had. I don't know what the ring was.
Lord of the Ring.
This was heel DDP before he got really big. So it was interesting to see. He still came through the crowd and he got booed, and it couldn't even have been a year later, less than a year. He was one of the top guys.
And then we cut to another promo. Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan, who is one of the great writers in wrestling that people don't talk about, and the Giant promo. You know what? I liked it a lot, and that's when I liked the Giant when Big Show. That's when I found him to be great at promos. He was good.
Oh yeah,
and he was believable, and so I liked his stuff in WCW when he was at. He's still awesome when he came.
So
to WWE.
young too, man. It was crazy to see, and all I could think of was him yelling at Captain Insano, or just the entire time, just yelling at Bobby Boucher. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, he was Captain Insano then, just screaming. That was great. Just laughing at him. It was wonderful. One of my favorites.
Yes, and then we cut to Lee Marshall with Canadian Crippler and Arn Anderson promo.
Yep.
They talk about the later match and then shoot on the Giant and Taskmaster. Arn Anderson, one of the great fighters. I did not like his promo. He was so monotone and quiet.
He always was. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't always, but for this one, it wasn't great. Benoit was pretty good, I thought.
Yes, and then you had next Nasty Boys and Public Enemy in a double dog collar match.
The frickin' table that never broke. Oh, what the hell was up with that? That thing, and they kept trying to go through it. It was hurting me watching it. I was like, what is going on? I couldn't get over that table that wouldn't break. I couldn't get over it.
It was weird. Weird match. But
it sucked.
It was weird. But for a bunch of big men, decent. Nasty Boys won, of course. They hit him with the chains, put one through a table, finally. And then, did you know both guys from Public Enemy would be dead within 10 years?
I knew that Rocco Rock died
2003.
Yes.
And then the other in 2006.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jerry Saggs, who from the Nasty Boys, you know who he is the uncle of? Two guys.
I know this, and I can't go.
He's the brother-in-law of Dusty. So
Cody
and
Goldust, and then obviously, who's the other one? I can't think of his name. Sags and the blonde. Who's the blonde? Is Hogan's best friend.
Yeah. Oh, Knobs.
Knobs, yeah, Brian Knobs. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, one of Hulk Hogan's best friends in the entire world.
Yeah,
which
they're
is
so
funny because
close.
he's in the Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
Just a different something or another with that. Fun facts there.
Next, we had Disco Inferno versus Dean Malenko for the Cruiserweight Championship. Dean Malenko, obviously the champ. A lot of technical wrestling, which can be boring for some people.
It was okay. I was never a Disco Inferno fan, so I was not thrilled with this match. I always thought Dean Malenko was pretty good.
Well, why do you think that Dean Malenko, I have this here, later on he agent for WWE, how come he didn't turn out like Y2J, Benoit, Eddie, and he was a great technical wrestler?
Because he had no promo skills. He was boring on the mic. He had like the Jake the Snake Roberts promo, but it just wasn't as good because Jake the Snake had such a good way with words and Malenko just really didn't. But Malenko was a great wrestler. I mean, an amazing wrestler. He just didn't have the talent on the mic to be the best because, to be honest with you, if he did, he would have been a top guy. Guaranteed. He just was short and didn't have the skills on the mic.
And Malenko was the man of 1,000 holds, which made me think of Jericho's man of 1,004 holds. Hold number 1, arm drag. Hold number 2, arm bar. Hold number 3, whatever. Hold number 4, arm bar.
He comes back. He's like, hold
number. Yeah, I have it. Hold number 712, arm bar. He just keeps
So
going. Next, we had Joe Gomez versus Steve Mongo McMichael with Deborah, his wife at the time, who later married Stone Cold, Deborah McMichael, who was later Deborah Williams. McMichael, he was new at this point, won by Tombstone. Boring match to me. It
terrible.
Was awful. I didn't like it at all. Next, Ric Flair and Miss Elizabeth, and then Woman, who is Nancy Benoit promo. Like you said, Rick, man, always the best.
Yep. His promo here was just amazing with both of them, and then even actually with Woman
And Mean Gene.
and Mean Gene, that was probably the best part of the whole thing. I absolutely love that. I thought it was great. Getting into this match, it was hard to watch, knowing that she was with Kevin Sullivan, but banging Benoit at the time, cheating on him. So this was like real life heat of them beating the shit out of each other. If you really watch this is absolutely legit. There was a lot of bad blood. And don't get me wrong, they're both professionals, but yeah, it was awkward. And then obviously the whole thing with Benoit killing her and all that, and himself, all that good stuff.
Do we have anything on what Sullivan had to say about that?
It was somewhere, but I'd have to bring that up and relook at it. I know he had something on it there.
Yeah, that just a rough thing, killed the kid too, and
Yep.
it's just a tough situation to see and hear about, and that's why we still see Benoit on the network. Obviously, we saw him here, but it's just something you remember the promo after he died, the big thing they had for him in honor of them, and then they pulled that immediately once they found out what happened.
Yeah.
That was bad. So next, they led into the match, Ric Flair versus Conan, who was the champ at the time, U.S. heavyweight champ. Rick was the best and didn't need valets to win, but that's what they did. Classic Ric Flair, heel. His flop death move has always been great, when he gets hit and then he just flops right to the ring.
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, all Ric Flair matches to me are fantastic. This definitely was one of them. Him and Conan put on a good match. Conan was this is his first or second match in WCW, I think.
Well, he was the champ.
He just got there,
right? Yeah, he just got there, yep.
Yeah, he just got there. So I thought this was a great match, and, Flair always leads a good match. He did again here. So, like I said, not much to say. It's a typical Ric Flair match. It was really good. It was probably 20, 25 minutes.
Right.
And it was great. Flair ends up the victor.
Yep, and then how they won, Woman, Nancy Benoit, hits with the heel for the win, uses the rope, and he uses classic Rick, puts his feet all the way to the top rope to get the pin.
It's great.
They cut back to Mean Gene in the back, talking about the person being someone familiar. The sound is familiar. Heenan asked Gene to offer the cops some money to talk, and he said, "Wait a minute, Heenan, I don't want involved in your games." Classic
great.
Gene and Bobby Heenan
They
going
were
back
great
and
together.
forth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh. And then we went into the Giant and Taskmaster versus Arn Anderson and Benoit. What I found, in the beginning, Sullivan hit him with an actual chair.
Yes.
like an actual, not like a folding chair,
No,
but
yeah.
an actual chair that
Yeah.
sits there with 4 legs.
It's no joke.
Oh gosh, it was fantastic. And then Mongo McMichael came out, hit Giant with a chair. Giant chased him to the back. Sullivan was double teamed for a while. Giant, of course, he was the heavyweight champ at the time.
Yep.
Took it off Hogan. Won with the pin, with a choke slam for the pin. Benoit keeps beating up Taskmaster at the end, and you saw
When
that's
he
where he
jumps
about.
onto the sand.
Yeah, well, he comes back in the ring and beats him up more.
Yeah.
And
Nancy,
he says,
Nancy was telling him to stop,
and that was
Yeah.
legit. That was not like you're saying here.
Well, that was story, but what
but-
I'm saying is the actual behind the scenes was legit. That he was cheating, or she was cheating on, because at the time, her and Sullivan were together at this time.
Yep.
She was obviously valeting for Flair and the Four Horsemen, but she was banging Benoit. I mean, and he knew it. They all knew it, and Benoit didn't hold anything back, and that feud just goes from there, and it just keeps taking off.
Yep, and then I love Heenan. The Giant has left the beach.
Yeah.
Just
So
things
good.
like that.
Heenan's great.
Giant throws Sullivan over his shoulders and carries him to the
like
back.
he was a baby. I was like, Jesus, Sullivan's like a 250-pound man, and he just picks him up like nothing.
So I'll have to come back and look at which pay-per-views they had it, where they had the triple cage, cage on top of cage on top of cage.
Those were
It's not the World War III or anything.
No, that's the 3 rings,
Yeah.
the Royal Rumble style. That was War Games.
War
That's what it
Games.
is,
There you go. Yeah, and they had all the way to the top. So it makes me think of Dungeon of Doom, which was Taskmaster's thing, and
Yep.
he had the Giant here. What did you think of Dungeon of Doom over time?
A lot of people didn't like them, and I've seen, and listening to other podcasts, wrestling podcasts that is, but I thought they were great.
I did too.
Sullivan, Giant, not Show. And they had Haku, they had Barbarian. Who else they have in there? They had remember Canyon? Who was he at the time?
Chris Canyon?
Yeah, but he was the dude dressed in green. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was in there too. I mean, yeah, it was a whole bunch of like weird people, but they were badasses. There was a great faction. I think it was really underrated, and I don't know why people don't like it. They really didn't have a mouthpiece besides the Giant, and it took him a little while.
Taskmaster, he was their mouthpiece.
Yeah,
Kevin Sullivan.
that is true. I did that. Yeah, Sullivan was pretty
So
good
you
on
had
the mic.
Kamala.
but-
You had the
Yeah.
Zodiac, which later became Booty Man, which is, as we know it, you know who the Booty Man is?
No.
Brutus the fucking Barber.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then
Jesus.
Kamala the Shark, which is Earthquake
Yeah,
or
yeah.
John Tenta. Big Van Vader was in there for a little bit.
Speaking of that, did you get that too? I'm sorry to interrupt you. When Tenta in his match, they said that he goes, "There's no fish or anything around here." So I don't remember if it was Heenan or not.
Yeah,
but
and he said he used to be the Shark. They did mention that. They had non-members that were associated with the dungeon. Lex Luger, Jimmy Hart, Glacier, which is one of the most terrible things ever. He was Taskmaster's bodyguard. Hugh Morris, Max, Big Bubba.
Hugh Morris, that was it.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Braun the Leprechaun, One Man Gang, Conan, Jacqueline, Loch Ness, Z Gangsta, and the Ultimate Solution.
Way too many people.
Yes, so they were, and then other people that were
It was
involved.
like the NWO.
Right, and other people that were involved in the Alliance to End Hulkamania: Ric Flair, Brian Pillman, Arn Anderson, Lex Luger. You're talking about the Four Horsemen when they did the whole thing to end Hulkamania. So that was a big thing with Dungeon of Doom. I thought they were good. I know some people don't like them, but whatever. So next, the big one: Outsiders versus Randy Savage, Sting, and Luger. As we know, greatest heel turn of all time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if not the greatest, definitely the most memorable, the most known, the thing that changed wrestling forever.
Yes.
And that's a fact. There's no disputing that. If Hogan never turns heel, who knows what happens? There maybe is no Attitude Era, and Vince doesn't go out on the limb to do it, and they just sit there and run regular ass ratings forever and don't get the ratings that they do, and Stone Cold isn't beating up his boss and drinking beers, and The Rock isn't talking about poontang pie, and NWO, isn't running wild. The most popular sold shirt in wrestling maybe ever besides Austin 316 has to be NWO, right?
Yeah, DX could be up there too, but it's probably NWO.
It's got to be. So yeah, it's insane. But yeah, for the match, you had Nash, Hall come down. I think Gene gets into the ring, asks him who the third guy is. They say we'll bring him out if we need him. And then obviously Savage, Sting, Luger come out. They have a good decent match to start. Luger ends up getting knocked out. I think he gets hit from the top rope, right? Or he gets something over the top rope, ends up getting quote-unquote knocked out. And then he gets stretchered back. And then, obviously, did someone come out? I'm trying to think now as I'm remembering back. But I can't remember if someone came out before. But, you had Hall and Nash beating up Sting and Savage. And then, of course, Hogan comes out. And that's when Heenan gives the old...
Before we get into, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
get
fine.
into. I found this was in 2014, mind you, but the top 10 selling shirts of all time.
Okay.
Number 10, Rated R Superstar. Number 10. Number 9, CM Punk, Best in the World.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised. Number 8, Hot Rod.
Yeah,
in
makes
there.
sense.
Number 7, Cactus Jack, Wanted Dead or Alive.
I could see that.
Number 6, Macho Man, which I have this because they still sell it, the purple shirt.
Sunglasses.
Yep. Number 5, DX.
Yep.
Number 4, NWO.
4.
Yes. Number 3 is Brahma Bull, Just Bring It.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Hulkamania. We should have known that. Number 1 is
Austin
the obvious
316.
Austin 316.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. I could see how the NWO couldn't outsell Hulkamania, Stone Cold, and The Rock. I mean, those are the 3 biggest guys ever.
In sports. And I got to credit the richest on that one, by the way. I want to give them credit for that, therichest.com. Yeah, and to kind of go into what you're saying, so when Hogan comes out and does looks like rips off the shirt, he's there to help, and then you realize like, oh shit, does the leg drop a couple times on Macho Man, aligns with the Outsiders. I loved, Hogan. A lot of people didn't like him in promos. Sometimes he was great.
This was a great promo.
Oh my god, it was unbelievable when he said, "I made that organization up north bigger. I made everyone money." And, he changed wrestling forever on that. And he, again, the second time. And, he said, billionaire Ted talked turkey with Hogan, promised movies and millions. Ted, Bischoff, WCW, I'm bored, brother. This is why he turned. One of the greatest heel promos. And they will destroy everything in our path, me and Gene. All this crap. They were throwing a lot of stuff in the ring all over the place. All this crap represents these fans out here. And then he called it the New World Order of Wrestling, but later on he said the New World Organization several times. So that was a big thing that came up.
I think my favorite part of that is I've seen that a few times, so I wasn't watching. I was watching the crowd, and you could see the people cheering. Like, it was funny. People were cheering in the back, and I thought it was good. So you know that there were people there who enjoyed this, the smart fans, quote-unquote, as they say. Who probably knew this was coming. But I thought that was pretty good. So that was certainly interesting. And I really think that, like I said, this did change wrestling. And it was the biggest thing you're probably going to see in wrestling. So I thought they pulled it off very well. And, of course, Shivani at the end, Hulk, and he wasn't even fed this line, but he gave the old Hulk Hogan, you can go straight to hell, which I thought was great. Great line right there.
So, overall, what do you think of the pay-per-view?
First match was great. The last 2 matches before the Outsiders versus, Sting, Savage, and Luger were pretty good. And then, obviously, the heel turn was huge. Everything else in between sucked. I would say it was like a 7 out of 10.
I agree. It was a good one. Like we said, next week we're going to cover WrestleMania 20. But before we get into any of that, let's go into the Jason debate. So it's been rumored, we talked about this earlier, Alexa Bliss is retiring from WWE due to concussions. Your comments?
I just now am hearing this.
So she's not fighting for a while, for the immediate future. We don't know. This could hinder WrestleMania, everything else. Don't know. Sad to hear. She's great. If she has to retire, that sucks. It reminds me of Edge. Which a lot of people don't think about when he fought at WrestleMania against Del Rio. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know that was his last match until Monday Night Raw. Walked away. People didn't know. It's the same thing that, like, when you get hit, which we can talk about things happening, or when you mark out, as we've mentioned in previous podcasts, that this thing happens, and it's real life, and people's lives are in danger, so you have to keep that in mind. What do you think about it? What do you think about her?
I mean, it would be a big blow if she did have to retire for concussions. That would suck. I mean, I think she's a great athlete. She was a really good champion. She's put on a lot of good matches. Ronda came around at the time, and she pretty much got her ass beat by her a few times. So if that's what it is, I mean, you got to think of it at the end of the day. You need your long-term health. You see a lot of the people, unfortunately, in the NFL who now are older and dealing with CTE because they didn't have it. And, you don't want that to happen now. With everything we know now, there's no reason for it to happen. And you can't prevent a concussion. You just can't. So if she is retiring, maybe she can be a manager. Maybe she can be GM. She's a great heel.
It's kind of like Paige. What happened to her?
Yeah, exactly. And I think she won't be out of wrestling if she retires. She'll be out of performing. She won't be out of the backstage. And who knows? Maybe she has, creative abilities, something along those lines to where she stays in. But I think if she retires from in-ring, she'll still be around like a Daniel Bryan sort of thing, just more as a heel, which is great. You always need heel managers or heel announcers or heel GMs, whatever the case may be. So, hopefully if she does have to retire from the in-ring, that she stays with the company and gets to do some other stuff.
Right, and I can agree with that. She's a great heel, would be good for the company. Who wins a legit fight, MMA fight, between Jean Claude Van Damme and Rob Van Dam?
I mean, I don't know either of their backgrounds. I know they're both karate guys. Jean Claude Van Damme's a movie guy, but I would imagine, give me Rob Van Dam, just because he'd probably be stoned and wouldn't feel a lot. That's my guess.
I'll just go opposite Jean Claude. Dude's a badass.
He is. I'm not saying he's not. Don't get me wrong.
And
I mean, he was in Bloodsport.
Yeah, he was. He was in Bloodsport and Kickboxer and everything else. So let's go into the next thing here. MMA related. Have you guys sampled Proper 12 yet? I'm guessing no. I don't think it is on sale in Ohio.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
Good job, Jason. Way to get us that. And you know what? I'm not even going to look it up. I'm not even going to spare you to look it up. You need to put better stuff in this. I need more research from you. You're slacking.
Next, he has, does Stephanie one-up her brother and win the Ronda versus Becky match, which is now Ronda versus Charlotte?
I like, this is a good question. This is just a solid Jason question right here. No.
Yeah. We all took Ronda.
It's going to be Ronda.
No.
And if Stephanie came in, Ronda would probably break her arm too, just like anybody else.
And is it just him, or does Finn Balor, the demon, resemble the boogeyman?
Yeah, I do see that. If he put worms in his mouth too,
yeah,
he would be the boogeyman. I can see it.
Maybe he'll do it with gummy worms.
Ooh, that'd be good. I might do that the next time we come on the show.
Yeah. Honor Brandon. When Shawn Michaels, this is the best. When Shawn Michaels, the bald-headed kid, looked into the mirror after his recent haircut, do you think he had the same reaction as Kane did when he lost his mask during Crown Jewel?
I hope so, because Kane's reaction when he couldn't find his mask, you see him it's like when you're laying in bed and you hear your phone going off, but it's dark and you're groggy and you can't grab it, so you're just kind of flailing around and you want to know what your face looks like. That's what Kane was doing. No, I don't think so. I think Sean's wife probably said, shave your head or I'm leaving you, because the long hair, balding is kind of creepy. He's been balding with the long hair since 98, by the way.
And Triple H would always call him out on it too.
It was great.
It was fantastic.
Absolutely great.
All right, so the next thing we had here is wrestling video games. The best video games for wrestling. Jeremy asked us about this. What were the best for you?
My favorite was the original WWE Raw vs. SmackDown. Probably on the PlayStation 2, I think, is when I played it. Absolutely one of my favorites of all time. I like WCW Nitro on N64 back in the day.
Oh, so good.
Great. But my favorite was always Raw vs. SmackDown, because they had general manager mode and you could create pay-per-views and they had a big storyline and everything. Definitely one of my favorite games.
Mine is Royal Rumble 94, because it's one of the first games I had, and I still have it for Sega. It was just fun to play. You got the music. You had your Bret Hart, your Hulk Hogan, your Shawn Michaels, your Diesel, Razor Ramon, Crush, Owen Hart, all these guys. It was just fun to play. I like that a lot. WCW NWO, great game. I agree as well. And for him, Pro Wrestling for the NES was a classic, of course. And who could forget Starman or Kin Corn Karn? The N64 wrestling games were the best multiplayer games ever. All-time favorite, though, has to be WrestleFest, the arcade game. absolutely phenomenal. Graphics still hold up today somehow, despite being an almost 30-year-old game. Check it out on YouTube if you haven't played it.
I have not.
So since we haven't, again, it's WrestleFest, the arcade game. Check it out, YouTube. And then the other part of his question was, what do we think about the 2K games?
I haven't played, so I have no opinion on this, to be honest with you.
I've played like once, and it's just because I don't have time to play wrestling games.
And neither
anymore.
do I, unfortunately. I wish I did.
I like some of the things they do, and they're fun. You can unlock a lot of players, with the 2K games, and I'm okay with 2K taking this over. They're fun. The graphics are great, and you got your storyline modes, which are fun. But again, I have only played once in the last several years. So, wrestling video games, great question for me. Again, Royal Rumble 94, just because that was one of the first games I had for Sega.
Yep. I
was 7, 6, something like that, and it was just fun to do. And were you born yet?
Yes. Yes, I was.
All right. So again,
Barely,
thank you, Jeremy, on the perfect discussion for wrestling video games. And to kind of wrap this whole thing up, top 3 moments where kayfabe was broken.
Kayfab. Okay, kayfabe. But I like saying kayfab.
Yeah, it's fun.
I slacked and didn't look much into this.
So let's shoot.
I'm going
let's
off.
Do a shoot promo.
I'm going
Chat me up,
shoot
Bear.
off memory. I'll go one down. Number 1, CM Punk's pipe bomb. I think that has to be right up there. That's my number 1. Since I'm thinking backwards, I'm not going to go 3. I'm not going to go 3 to.
Well, I'm
3 to
not
1.
even. Yeah, I know we said top 3. I think for this, because we didn't have time to study this, we both weren't prepared. We can just shoot this instead of doing tops.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be up there, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
huge.
It was humongous when he comes out with the Austin shirt.
Yeah.
And cuts the promo. And then I love, my favorite, though, is when he's in the ring with Triple H. This isn't Triple H versus CM Punk. This is Phil Brooks versus Paul Levesque.
Yes.
And I'm like, and then you forget, like, holy shit. And then another one, I don't know if you remember this, when Shawn Michaels got hit in the head with a battery. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Check it out. It's fantastic.
Is that the WrestleMania?
I can't remember where it was.
I thought it was when... I thought that was the WrestleMania 14 when he was going to fight Austin. When he was getting out of the limo, the Tyson, they were going to do a workout.
It's happened before it was before WrestleMania 14. Yes, so you're right. He was cutting an in-ring promo with other members of DX and Tyson, and he got hit with the battery in the head. And this was pre-Attitude Era HBK, so crazy HBK.
Mm-hmm.
And he walked out to the audience mid-promo, and he talked to McMahon for a minute and had some things to say.
Yeah, it was when he went and locked himself in his limo.
Yeah, and he came back. So he was pissed. And
I could imagine if I got hit by a battery, I wouldn't be very happy either.
How about Randy Orton calling Kofi stupid when he almost botched the RKO and killed himself? You ever see that?
I did not.
You got to check that out. He just gets up and yells, "Stupid! Stupid!" like right at Kofi. I'm like, geez, that is terrible. How about, the botched Shooting Star Press? How they had to finish that up with Brock.
Oh, Brock,
at
yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yep.
And how they finish it. Or when they had to break it with Austin, breaking
Same
his
thing,
neck.
yeah. Austin, yeah, definitely there when Owen was going around and, he had to get pulled over.
This will be the first.
Obviously, Brett getting screwed in Montreal. I mean, that's huge.
How about a name that doesn't get mentioned much, and probably the only time we'll ever mention his name, Daniel Puder. When he remember the whole lock-on with Kurt Angle?
I just listen to that, something to wrestle with.
Yeah, unreal.
Oh, he said he would have broken his arm too if he didn't let go.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good broken kayfabe, and there's probably a lot that we missed as well. I mean, there's tons, and that's the whole point. Is that yes, wrestling is scripted, and that's how it is, but it's still real.
How about the one that killed WCW, Shivani, announcing Raw results?
Yeah, that was it. Well, announcing Mick Foley was champion, and everyone turned it there, and that was it.
Great idea. And like you said, CM Punk, I mean, pretty much everything with CM Punk was great, minus his MMA career. That was not good whatsoever.
No.
I think we can agree with that.
Even some of the Rock and Cena's promos were, I wouldn't say quite broken kayfabe because they all agreed to it, but they were pretty damn good too.
How about the one that we always forget that is classic, Booker T and Hogan?
Oh, jeez. Yes.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
Yep. Look that one up. That was a good one. And then you see him just covering his face.
Yeah, he's
walking
just
away.
embarrassed. He's like, "Oh, you idiot! What did you say?" And this
that's a good one.
is Harlem Heat Booker T.
Yeah.
This is pre-King Booker.
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
When Mean Gene, I know Mean Gene dropped the F-bomb. He did that. Check that out. That's good. He did that as well.
Yep.
And he just got pissed off, and then he just dropped the F-bomb. And that was wasn't it when the sign fell behind him?
Yeah, it was when the sign fell. Yeah, and he was off the camera, so he wasn't on camera, but
Yeah.
the mic was still on.
Which
was great.
I know some of the things like Vince back in the day when they had that when he was in the hospital. Austin wasn't supposed to hit him with a bedpan, but he hit him with the
Drilled
bedpan.
him. That noise just ting.
And I think the biggest one that we haven't mentioned, that this comes up if you haven't watched Thy Kingdom Come yet,
No.
or if you haven't listened to, have you listened to the Helmsley or Triple H and Stephanie relationship, one of Something to Wrestle?
Yes, yeah. Just
Okay.
the marriage, yeah.
They talk about, and this was big because, and I think this is probably the biggest one. So we can kind of wrap this up with this and talk about this for a minute. But the Madison Square Garden incident.
Yep.
It was with Diesel or Kevin Nash, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H all hug in the middle, and you just didn't do that.
Nope.
And those two guys were leaving, Nash and Hall.
Yep.
HBK was the top guy, so who took the fall? Triple H.
Triple H did.
And he didn't win King of the Ring in '96. Who won it?
That was
It changed everything.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
Stone Cold
Yep.
gives the promo. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whooped your ass."
Yep.
And look what happened after that. That was probably the biggest thing that could have happened to Stone Cold and Triple H.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, Triple H came back, and yeah, he took the fall. They said for like a year, he was getting jobbed out in matches.
And he didn't care. Because
No.
he was there to work. Like he said, he's like, I don't need to be the champ. I don't need this. I don't need that. I just want to be the best. And that's why he went to WWE in the beginning, and or WWF from WCW,
Yep.
terrorizing. And it was so good, and that incident changed everything. I mean, those guys went to WCW and guaranteed contracts, which we know ultimately led to the
demise.
the demise
Right.
of WCW. And you probably haven't. I know you haven't listened to much of Talk Is Jericho. You should. If you like rock and stuff like that, he has a lot of different. He has comedians on. He has paranormal stuff. He has rock and roll. He has wrestling. He has it all. It's awesome. He did. I haven't seen it yet, but on the boat, he did one with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and
he was there?
wanted to get him on for 5 years. And I'm telling you, listen to that podcast. How you hear some of these guys got on, like Jerry Lawler asked to come on. JR lost his wife, as we remember.
Yep.
And you can see what kind of had transpired there. You can think of kayfabe being broken, even recent. Lawler, when he had his heart attack, he had to break it a little bit. Even recent with Roman, and all the people come back just shocked.
Yeah.
And they come back shocked, and when they get back from that, it was tough for everybody.
Yeah, and also, anytime a wrestler passes away and they all come out, they all come out together. It's not with that 9/11, they all came out together. It does heels and faces, so.
And Vince paying tribute to Macho Man. They had a rocky relationship, but when Macho Man died, he paid tribute to him.
Yep.
And that was huge. And like you said, Vince, he did the same thing with Eddie when Eddie passed. Didn't he do the Viva la la la?
Yep.
In old Vince fashion. They were all good, and kayfabe gets broken more than we think and more than we see a lot. Like you can think of when Brock smoked Braun when he missed the kick. He smoked his ass like, all right, don't mess up. You're going to get popped.
Yep.
Brock, that's a cool thing about Brock, too. He isn't scared of shit. It doesn't matter how big Braun is. And Braun wasn't scared. He ain't scared of Brock.
No.
He didn't give a shit.
He's not. And Brock, like you said, Brock isn't what he used to be.
No.
But he's still a monster, and to those guys he is. He should be, because Brock is still big. Brock is still a beast. He's just, not a beast against the best professional MMA fighters in the world. That's all.
Right. So, this was a fun one. I thought it was a quick one, but it's been an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Always fun. It's hard. I think sometimes it's hard to do a show with two people, but I think with wrestling, this is pretty good for us to go back and forth. We got great people that give us good questions. Justin from Twitter, Jason, of course, for Jason Debate, Jeremy, the triple J's, Jeremy for
all
the
the
perfect
J's.
discussion. We appreciate everything you give us each week, and we thank our sponsors, of course, PNC, Verizon, Crandall's Quality Lawn Care, All Wear Clothing, Wes Anderson for Moments in Time. Thank you all. Thanks to the listeners. This is a fun Saturday. This is 28. So next week we're going to have 29 and 30.
Whew.
And should be a fun time. Stat Guy should be back for sports. Wrestling's not his thing, so it might just be Bear and I for a while on wrestling, which is okay.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, good two-man crew here.
Yep. So we've got WrestleMania 20 next week. So we look forward to more questions, more discussion topics. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
Why don't you ever say good brunch time?